Hey guys, welcome back to another video. So today's video, I am so glad I actually still have the footage for. I actually recorded it on a different screen recording app and it caused my iPad to not function properly. So I ended up having to reset my iPad, and in the process of that, I lost a couple of videos, which is a little bit of a bummer, but I'm just glad that I've got the Procreate footage for it. I thought it might be kind of fun to share a little bit of my painting process for flowers, in particular roses, because I love painting roses. Probably one of my most absolute favorite subjects to paint. And there are so many different types of roses out there. And I thought it might be kind of fun to share a little bit of my process, and maybe that'll help you out a little bit. Roses can be a little bit intimidating, but I feel like if you break them down, they're not quite as bad. So, the first thing I can offer as a tip, um, I actually like to paint roses petal by petal. So, you'll see me here literally painting each petal as I go. Um, to do this, especially if you're wanting something a little bit more photorealistic or a little bit more realistic looking in general, is to have reference photos. I actually, I actually like to travel all over our area to grocery stores and flower nurseries during the summer and take a bunch of pictures. That way, I have lots of reference ideas for the winter and fall to paint from. We've got a couple of nature sanctuaries around us too that have these absolutely beautiful wildflower fields. Some of the best pictures I've ever gotten have been from there, and it's so inspiring. And I feel like it's so special when it's a reference of something that you've taken. So definitely having a reference of some sort, even if it's just for lighting or for color or shape. There's so many different kinds of roses out there, and all of the petals curl differently, and they interlay and blend with each other a little bit different. Um, I like to paint cottage roses and these big full flowers. So it kind of is like a cabbage in shape. So it's kind of just like a brightly colored cabbage. So yes, definitely having a reference will help. Um, Mapping out the flower and having a limited color palette, that'll really help, especially for Procreate, will help make the colors pop and stand out a little bit better. Um, Another tip I can offer, try out a ton of different watercolor brushes. There are a lot of different ones out there. My favorite watercolor brushes, like of all time, are the Watercolor for Bears brushes by Angry Mikko. His Those brushes are absolutely gorgeous, and I use them on a daily. I feel like, are the first ones I've ever used that actually kind of resemble real watercolor, and that to me was so special because I don't use a whole lot of like real paint or physical paint anymore. So I can still do watercolor painting. So if you're somebody who wants to switch from, a physical medium to a digital one, the Watercolor for Bears brushes are amazing. So another brush that I like to use a lot of is the standard soft airbrush tool in the Procreate, and I don't touch any of the actual settings for it. I love the brush on its own. I feel like it's one of the only brushes that doesn't leave like weird lines behind when you go to like blend and smooth things out. Some of the soft airbrush tools, if you use the Gaussian blur tool or if you use it in the smudging feature, it'll like leave weird, almost halo like looking lines across the screen, and I hate that. And I like a little bit more smoothness. I kind of like all of my petals to look almost like fabric and to have like a velvety texture to it, and I feel like the soft airbrush is the best way to get that smooth blend. So here you'll see me kind of adding the watercolor effect at the end, playing with some different looks, and I ended up feeling like it needed to be darker behind it instead of lighter, because I felt like the lighter the flower was actually kind of starting to disappear. But you can try all different kinds of things with his air, especially if you get the Angry Miko brushes. They're wonderful, and there's so many different varieties of textures you can play with. But that extra layer of adding that paper grain over the top of your entire image, and sometimes I like to play with the overlay effect or soft light or normal. It really just depends on what kind of look you're going for, but it will take a painting from looking like it was painted digitally to something that looks more like a traditional watercolor, and it works so well with landscapes, people, just about everything. So that's probably my most important and favorite tip I can offer you. But I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope you were able to take something from it. It was a pleasure to talk to you, friend. Thank you so much for watching this, and I will see you in the next video. If you have any thoughts or ideas for anything else you want to see, definitely leave them below because I would love to hear that. Till next time, happy painting, friend.